when I last left you guys, I was torquing the head bolts on. Well, I got into a bit of a, let's say, hurry mode and started blasting things together. But I got them torqued, I got all the rockers on, everything, push rods are back in, everything. I turned it, torqued them down, and now I'm going to show you where we're at. So this is where we're at. Got a lot together. Now I did test fit this engine once before I added poly motor mounts, and I did not have the head gaskets or intake gasket on. Now, with the head gaskets and intake gasket on, I am hitting my cowl under here. Let me see where I got that blue tape. So, I have two options now. One, attempt to do something with the wiper arm, which I'm going to try first, and then if that don't work, we run no wipers. I mean, it is a show car, but I did plan on driving it, so that is where we're at. And yes, them are stock valve covers I just polished, and that sucks to polish them, and the castings make them look like crap, but they are chromish, so I mean, I did that for now. Like the center one right there, I polished that too, but it looks like crap because it in fact has pitting real bad. But the heads are on, the valves are done, you know, everything's ready to go there. Now I just have to figure out what I can do with this cowl. Alright, so let's take a look at the wiper arms. Now, you can see how big these things are. So what I am thinking about doing is knocking off the, I guess you'd call it a press fit rivet or something, I don't know. I'm going to cut it off, grind it off, pull this off, pull this off. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this down and then put the thing back on, and then weld a new, I guess you'd say a washer is probably what I'm going to replace it with, to try to move this upwards so I can just give that a little love tap and knock the lower cowl up higher. But first I'm going to try this, and again, if this don't work, then I guess I didn't need wipers in the first place. So. But that's the first thing I'm going to try. Let's see here. These have bolts are they riveted on. This one is riveted. So that means I can't get that off, which means I'm going to have to do it with all this mess on it still. Well, I'm going to give this a shot. I'll turn you back on after I get this cut off, ground off, however I can get it off. But that's where I'm at. Okay, so I decided to drill it instead of grind it, so that way I will not mess up anything that might have been in here, which is a good thing because there was a spring washer on the bottom of it, which I wouldn't have gone that far, but that's out now. So, and now I'm going to hammer this out to get it out of the plastic. And it looks like it's made of a big brass washer. You can see it's got like a 16th that sticks out of it. But I'm going to punch this out, and then I'm going to see about this washer, or this spacer, or I don't know what you would call that, a bearing or whatever. That's where I'm at now. Okay, so I knocked the pin out, and all it was is there's a brass bushing that presses in the bottom here, and there's one in here. Now that's going to be easier. I can just drill that hole. This I'm going to cut down. That's exactly what I'm going to attempt to do here. So I'm going to figure out how far down I can go, which I want to go about here. So, let me see, I should have a marker somewhere. Of course, I never have a marker when you need one. Alright, but anyway, I'll use this. Guess not. Yeah, here we go. I'll mark it. Alright, so that's where I want to cut. And I want to cut it as straight as possible all the way across. Then, after that, I'll put my rod back in for my wiper. Alright? And then I'll mark it to where I want to cut it, because I want it to be long enough to go through back onto this and then able to weld back in here. But that's what I'm gonna attempt. So I'm gonna cut this with a cutoff wheel, see how straight I can get it, or crooked, because I know it's gonna be crooked already. But that's where I'm at. Okay, you can see how much I cut off now at that shaft. So that's how much more room I'm gonna have now. Alright, so what I have to do now is I have to drill the end of this plastic to where this bearing, which probably won't fit over this thing right now. Yeah, well, I'll have to bevel that. But anyway, this copper bearing, which is a, I guess I'm just gonna call it a bearing, but it has to go over it and then leave enough gap there for when I weld this back on to there, that it can ride it on top of here with this washer, and then it'll be perfect. So that's what I gotta do now. I gotta drill this hole. Hopefully I have a bit big enough and it drills good, so that's what I'm gonna work on now. Okay, so I have it in there. See? There it is. Alright, now it's not gonna slip through yet because this end's actually a little bit wider where we had to drill it out. So I'm going to grind this to a little bit of a bevel so we can slide it through. Then we'll mark, after we get it through everything, how far it needs to be before we cut it off.
Think about your home.
There you see it's almost down an inch.
You just see two stories.
But I mean, it's
stories of your
gonna be
toddler's
plenty.
first steps. Now think about
So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the spring washer back on and then push it back through here. Well, I'm going to make it go back through there. And then I'm going to weld around this, which is the brass part, well, not the brass part, the steel part that I cut, drilled out. So see if it works. Okay, so here we are. Got that. It's got the spring washer on it. I filed that hole. Let me see right there. So now goes on. That's how much room we're gaining right there, that stud. So I'm gonna hold it on flat and I'm going to weld that back on now. And then that will get cut off, the excess, after I weld it. Okay, so I've got it all welded up and I've already got it back in there but not bolted in yet. And it seems to be exactly what I thought. It's gonna work. But won't know until I get it basically bolted in. There we go. Yeah, it raised it quite a bit, about at least 3/4 of an inch. So let's see here, put this back on. Yeah, even, I mean, it even bolted back in the same spot. Now it looks like it's gonna hit the dashboard, or whatever you want to call that under there, the top of it. So take this back off for a second and cycle it by hand. Come on off there. Fell off there the first time. Crap, man. There we go. Okay. That's exactly what it does too. So gonna work. That's a fail. wonder if I can bend that back. I wonder if I can flip this. What I mean by flip is put it on the bottom. It's just riveted on there. Well, I guess I got some more figuring out to do, so I'm gonna continue on with this for a while. But I'll post what happens. Okay, so my mod to the windshield wiper actually worked. Now here's the thing though, okay. This goes that way, but once it goes almost all the way up, it hits the inside firewall. So I'm just gonna bend that down. See where these swivel and everything, not like the older trucks and stuff do. These can actually just about be mounted any way you want. But I've been working on these and checking out my coils. My coils look like they're gonna hit right there on the heater hose. So I am probably going to either what's her names? Well, a different company sells ones where it relocates the back coil up to about right there. So it's 3 straight and 1 up. Same on the other side, 3 straight and 1 up, which I don't need to clearance the other side, but might as well make it look good. But that's where we're at. The intake fits now. I massage this valance a little bit up. I don't hit it all, so my wipers are still good to go. These have the gaskets on now, but it's not bolted down because I am still waiting on the knock sensors. Because apparently they can't find me here from DHL, so now I'm waiting again. But that's all for this for now. Next step will be, of course, hopefully putting the knock sensors in, bolting down the intake, test fitting the headers again, because I have been told several times now that the butterflies on the transmission that stick out are going to hit. I'll have to cut them off. No big deal. It's just, you know, the sides of the, what is that called? The torque converter cover. No problem. Don't really care. Let's see here. Then from that point, all I have to do is replace the seals back there on the cam sensor and something else back there. I don't remember what that other one is. But replace that, replace the steam tubes on the front and back, the seals, I got them, the gaskets or whatever you want to call them. And start wiring. Then after the point where I got it wired, I can run my fuel line plumbing, which I need to get the quick connects for those right here, 2 of them, and I already have all the hose and everything up there, and get a fuel pump and hook up fuel lines, and that's ready to go. Then get it wired, get the vats off of the ECM, which I have a guy local that's going to do that for me, and then test fire. And then when that baby right there starts, I'm gonna cry. And then when I start crying, you're gonna start crying, and we're all gonna be crying. But I love it. Jesus. But no, okay. But I've been waiting a long time for this. This has been, well, I started tearing the car apart 6 years ago. And, you know, I do what I can with what I got. So now, after about 4 years, I decided to do, no, 3 years. Yeah, so half the time I decided it needs to be LS swapped, need the power, need the awesomeness. And as you can tell, it's awesome. I mean, it looks great in there. But, that's where I'm at. And thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. And hopefully this thing's gonna fire up soon, and we can all cry a little bit.